Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, or so we have all been told for probably most of our lives. It turns out, according to a new study, maybe not. Joining us right now as part of our continuing House Call for Health series, Dr. Gerald Edelman, author of Sugar Rehab. Dr. Edelman, good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I hope you are as well. All right, I make a point of having breakfast because I had it drilled into me from the time I was 2 years old, probably, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You can't go to school till you have breakfast. You can't do anything till you have breakfast. And now we're finding out that if you want to stay on a diet, maybe you should skip it.
I don't have a problem with when you break your fast. Breakfast is when you break your fast. So if you do that at 11 or 12 in the morning, that's fine. If you do it at 6 in the morning, that's fine. That study's a short study, and I agree with you. It's kind of a myth that you have to eat breakfast. Let me turn it around just a little bit because I think it's interesting. I think you'd agree with me. Most fat people think they have to skip breakfast.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose. Or skip a number of meals, probably.
Yeah, so there have been a lot of clinical trials, not just this type of one out of the blue, that have shown that eating frequently high protein, high good sources of fat frequently throughout the day is a sustainable way to keep your weight down. That's what I think is important.
Well, one of the things that happens, though, when people do this, and I've known folks who've tried this, they tend to overeat on those little meals, and they end up having the same amount of nutrition that you would have not during 3 meals during the day, but like during 4 and a half. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really love this, Bruce. So imagine that you are starving, and all you have in front of you are sticks of butter and steak, and you have as much of those as you want. Contrast that to all you have in front of you is bowls of cereal and donuts. The question is, throughout the day, if you're feeding off of the steak and the butter versus the donuts and the cereal, the cumulative caloric intake. You get these ups and downs and peaks and valleys when you eat sugar-based foods like cereal and donuts. You're satisfied for an hour, you peak, and then you crash and you want more. So if you total up your calories during the day, you're going to eat more calories with those higher sugar foods. That's what's key to take away from all this discussion this morning.
In other words, if you can simply take a pass on the high sugar stuff when you eat, whether it's 3 meals a day or 5 small meals a day, whatever the case might be, then you're probably better off in the long term.
That's exactly right. So when you break your fast, which is what breakfast is, make sure you're feeding your body protein and good healthy sources of fat rather than cereals and sugary foods.
Final question for you, Dr. Edelman, if I could. If you skip breakfast, what does that do to your blood sugar levels or your metabolism? I've heard folks kind of complain about, oh boy, I'm having my metabolism is dropping and my blood sugar must be way off at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning if they've skipped that morning meal.
The thing about your body is it's an incredibly intelligent machine. We think that the only part of intelligence is our thinking, but it's actually your whole body is intelligent. It'll tell you what to do. So, and you're right, it varies from individual to individual. What I'm saying is when you're hungry, go ahead and feed your body protein. Don't feed it high sugary stuff, and then everything will take care of itself. My book, Sugar Rehab, I list foods out that are okay and not okay. I've done the work for you, and just use common sense. That's what I'm coming from.
Dr. Gerald Edelman, author of Sugar Rehab. We'll link to the book as well for you, sir. Part of our continuing House Call for Health series. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you a lot.
News, traffic, weather on the 5s.
A swimmer's been reported.